Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Offtop podcast. Starting your boy Corey Phillips. I'm here back at you again. Episode 5. Episode 5, October 12th. Offtop podcast. I missed you guys from last week. Thank you guys for tuning in. Got a lot of stuff to get into. I hope you guys had a good week. A lot of NFL stuff to talk about. It's a lot of stuff going on tonight, too. I just came from a Seattle Kraken party. The inaugural first game of the season is going on as we speak right now. We'll get into that in a few minutes. Kraken and the Las Vegas Golden Knights playing each other right now. We're in a new location, new setup. As you can see from the background, new setup. I like the setup. Got the gamer chair going on. Nice setup. Nice and bright, clear. Sound is clear. Everything is clear. So we're getting the Kraken tonight. A lot of NFL stuff I'm going to get into. Um, like and subscribe, share the videos. Videos are up on YouTube and all other streaming platforms right now. So like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell the dogs, tell the cats. All of it. We got a lot of stuff to get into. A lot of NFL news, as you know. We're going to get into all that. We got some postseason baseball going on as we speak right now. Two early games that ended earlier today. Houston with the win over the Chicago White Sox, 10-1. Houston won their series 3-1, so they advanced to the American League Championship Series against the Boston Red Sox, who won their series yesterday. And the Atlanta Braves finished their series out, winning 5-4 to the Milwaukee Brewers. They advanced to the National League Championship Series, and they're playing the winner of the San Francisco Giants and the Los Angeles Dodgers, which is going on as we speak right now. The Dodgers are up 5-1 over San Francisco. San Francisco leads the series 2-1, I believe. But that's yes. So San Francisco leads that series 2-1. A win for the Dodgers tonight forces a game 5. I believe that game 5 will be on Thursday night or Wednesday, whichever. I think it's either Wednesday or Thursday, that game 5. If the Dodgers hold on to win. So we'll keep track of that. Right now they're in the top of the 8th. And then tonight was the opening night of the NHL. And for me, as my hometown being St. Louis Blues, just winning their Stanley Cup for the first time ever a couple years back. I'm a huge hockey fan, and St. Louis is. I grew up there, and it's always been and always will be a hardcore baseball town. The Cardinals are beloved in St. Louis. Um, they are beloved. It's a huge baseball town. That being said, the Blues are not far behind, and like I said, they just won their first Stanley Cup in franchise history. They had the longest championship drought in any of the four major sports until 2 years ago when they won their first ever Stanley Cup. But it's a special night because the Kraken, Seattle Kraken, first game of the season. Right now they're in the second period. And the Kraken has cut the lead. The Knights went up after the first period, 3-0. The Kraken has scored 2 goals late in the second period, and right now the Knights are still up 3-2 on the Kraken. The third period just getting started. So we'll keep track of that game as it progresses. Like I said, they're in the third period of that game. So about 13 minutes left in the third period. But opening night of NHL, got some baseball stuff going on, but the big news, the massive news, which came since we last came on the air, the emails from Mr. John Gruden, your former head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders. Some interesting emails came out. There was a couple that had surfaced in the media racial comments and anti-gay, all sorts of bad stuff came out. But there was only a couple, and from years ago, and I was in the mindset that when those emails came out, I didn't think he should lose his job, or I thought should be punished in some kind of way. I didn't think he should lose his job initially because there was only like a couple of emails. Fast forward to last night. Actually, it was Friday night where a New York Times report came out. There was thousands of emails, thousands, dating back all the way to 2011. Anywhere from anti-racial stuff against one of the heads of the NFLPA, talking about anti-gay messaging or anti-gay bashing. Emails that came out. There was even some talk of women shouldn't be referees in the NFL. Those emails surfaced in a New York Times report on Friday. Now, last night, I would say it was about right before halftime or right around halftime, where John Gruden turned in his resignation to be the head coach of the Las Vegas Raiders, and Mr. Al Davis accepted, which was a shock to the whole sports world. And to come to find out that report for the New York Times came out on Friday, so they were aware of what was going on before their game on Sunday. Obviously, this was a distraction to the team because you saw how, if you watched the game, I watched the game. It was a terrible performance from the Vegas Raiders. I mean, Chicago came in and basically beat them down, 20-9 victory for the Chicago Bears. But it was obviously a distraction when you have an open gay player on your team, and there's these emails that come out basically saying, bashing gay players in the NFL. It was a huge problem. It was a huge deal. At that point, I was just like, okay, he has to go. I mean, I kind of saw the writing on the wall going into the game on Sunday. I was like, he's probably going to be gone in the next 2 days. And sure enough, he beat my timeline because he was out. Now, a couple of things on this situation that I want to get across. Number one, Gruden's done. He won't coach anywhere ever again. No team will touch him. No ownership group will touch him. No, he won't even. He probably won't even have a job relating to or connected to the NFL. Number one. Number two, the investigation that the NFL did on these emails and stuff. My first question was, who leaked the information and why hasn't more emails been leaked? I'm curious about that. Because the investigation goes into not only the Raiders and John Gruden, but it goes into an investigation that was done on the Washington football team, where they're engaging an investigation on sexual misconduct and how things were handled in the organization. But they're saying, I've heard reports of over 6,500 emails that were sent back to. And here's the thing that bothers me the most. When people in a position of power feel that comfortable to send that type of information via email, like, you know that, like, if I were to send some stuff at work, it's a work email. Obviously, it's got to be tracked at some sort of capacity, and it'll be saved at some sort of capacity. If I were to say some stuff like that, and then it get leaks to my boss, of course, I'm going to get let go. But the length of time that this has spanned to where he was sending these emails back and forth to somebody who obviously he thinks that he's in a position where he can't be touched, or he won't be found out in any way, or maybe I'm trying to understand the mindset, because maybe he didn't think he was going to be in trouble. I think he was just thinking that this was okay. But in any event, there's some sort of correspondence that he was having with somebody, and I think the NFL should do an even deeper investigation. The fact that they haven't said anything, just slap basically they fined the owner of the Washington football team $10 million, which for him is probably a slap on the wrist, you know. But it goes deeper, in my opinion, than this because John Gruden is more of an old school type of mentality when it comes to coaching. And in this day and age, this is 2021, you cannot have or say those type of things in this day and age. I mean, years ago, I mean, and I'm 40 years old, you know, and years ago, I mean, I had coaches talk to me like that, like, "Hey, just going in on me," you know what I mean? And it didn't bother me so much, but it was kind of the culture that was present back then. Nowadays, you have to adjust and adapt, and obviously, John Gruden haven't adjusted or adapted to the times that we're in. And even though he sent those things in 2011, it still doesn't make it okay because you're in an environment where you're supposed to be a leader of men, no matter what age, gender, sexual preference they are, whatever it is. I mean, and it really cuts to the core because like it. I mean, you have an openly gay player on your squad. I mean, I don't know if he just had a lost memory and just didn't. I mean, he forgot that he sent those emails, knowing that first couple of emails leaked out, or he just don't care. But in any event, he's gone, and I think this is going to be a deeper investigation as to who is leaking these emails and who else was he corresponding with, um, sending these emails and stuff like that. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers already announced this like a few hours ago that they're taking John Gruden's name off the Ring of Honor. So that's huge news. Um, they put out a statement basically saying we do not want to associate ourselves with that type of language and conduct. So you're starting to see the walls crumble around. I mean, the walls already crumbled down, but now you're getting recognition taken away from you. Like they said that they appreciate him and all the work he has done winning their Super Bowl years ago, but they can't associate his name with in the Ring of Honor when you have that type of thing hanging over your head. So that was the big news yesterday. That investigation, they said investigation is over. I seriously doubt that. I think in the coming weeks we're gonna see how some of these other coaches and who he's corresponding with, and see we'll see what happens when some of these other. I want to know who leaked these emails, and I want to see what comes becomes of it. Because if there's other names that get dropped, we can see some other heads roll here later on down the road. But that was the big news from yesterday. It's it's still a huge topic, and it's still going to be talked about for the next few weeks. I can guarantee you. It's been all over the news. Every single media platform, every single news outlet is covering this. The NFLPA is petitioning the NFL to release the emails that were sent, all of them. So we'll see how that goes there. Some other NFL news: Tom Brady sore thumb, got injured on Sunday. They said he's gonna be probably he'll be ready to go for Thursday night's tilt with the Philadelphia Eagles big game on Thursday. Some other news that came in today: Trey Flowers, Seahawks, is gonna get released as I expected with the Seahawks with their poor pass defense, um, especially after that game last Thursday against the Rams when they got carved up. Um, Sidney Jones is about to come off the IR, so it makes sense. Younger, fresher corner that could it probably will be better than Trey Flowers. You can't get much worse than what the Seahawks have been throwing out there these last few weeks. So, but you'll have an inexperienced, you'll have a four-year vet that will be open and available to other teams. So we'll see if he gets picked up. More than likely, he will. Kansas City, are you hearing me? I mean, Kansas City has been no better in the secondary. They're like next to last in defense. But that news came a couple of hours ago. Sorry. And Juju Smith-Schuster out for the season, which is big news on the Pittsburgh Steelers side. Lucky for the Steelers, they have plenty of wide receivers that can fill that void. But obviously, Juju is a big loss um, for the Steelers. And then Chandler Jones of the Arizona Cardinals tested positive for COVID. We don't know his status for Sunday's game, but we just got the news earlier this evening. So a little bit of NFL stuff. We're going to get into some of the games from Sunday and Thursday. Little score update from the Kraken Golden Knights game. In 10 minutes left in the third period, Golden Knights are up 4-3. What a hockey game this has been so far. Um, like I said, it's the Kraken's first game of the season, first game in the franchise's history. I am trying to find a ticket to that first opening game in Climate Air Arena in Seattle, so I can go to see the Kraken play. It's going to be really interesting. Um, some other news and notes. Oh yeah, and then score update on the Dodgers Giants game. Dodgers are up 7-2 in the bottom of the eighth to score 2 runs in that bottom half of the eighth inning. Look like they're on their way to a victory, but we'll see. We'll see a lot of things happen in baseball. Got some preseason NBA going on. The season is getting ready to start. How excited are you? I don't know. I'm super excited. I'll tell you why. My Lakers. Oh boy, my Lakers. It's revenge time. It's time to get that championship back home. We let Milwaukee have one. Let them have it. But LeBron and the boys are coming. We got a healthy Anthony Davis. We got Russell Westbrook, and we got the whole squad. We're ready to roll. So I'm excited for the NBA. NBA starts in about 10 days from now. So I'm super excited for that. But the other news I wanted to get into, and this topic kind of irritated me today, but I like the move. But news out of the NBA: Kyrie Irving, Mister The World is flat. There's something wrong. I don't understand some of the mindset of Kyrie Irving. But the Nets came out today and said that he will not be eligible to play until he goes and gets a vaccine. They made that official today. And this is kind of the same thing with the Andrew Wiggins story. Now, we know that the two states that are having vaccine mandates is New York and California. Kyrie plays for the Brooklyn Nets, which are in New York. Now, there's been a history this past season of Kyrie taking time off. He said it's due to family issues, mental health stuff, what have you. And the Nets, I think at this juncture, are kind of sick of the act with Kyrie Irving because of the fact that he's coming to play whenever he feels like he comes to play. And here's the thing, Kyrie, this team was brought together. I mean Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, James Harden. They also have Blake Griffin on their team, and they have LaMarcus Aldridge. Now, this team was brought together for the simple goal of winning a championship. And right now, in Vegas odds, they are the favorite to win the title. But the way Kyrie's been acting, it's okay if you were in a solo sport like golf, tennis, bowling. Those are individual bases. This is a team sport. And these guys have sacrificed and made sacrifices to get this team together so they can win a championship. Now you got to remember one key thing here. James Harden is a free agent at the end of this season coming up. So keep that in mind. But the Nets came out and made a statement basically saying Kyrie Irving basically won't be a part-time player for the Brooklyn Nets. We understand you have hesitations about the vaccine. Hell, I had hesitations about getting the vaccine. But this is a team sport. And every team, you got to make sacrifices to achieve the ultimate goal. And right now, this is not sounding like a person that's willing to make a sacrifice for his team. He is only out for one person and one person early, and that's Kyrie Irving. Now, the Nets basically after this past year of dealing with Kyrie, and you understand why he was let go in Boston. You know, the Cleveland thing, yeah, he wanted to get underneath from underneath the shadow of LeBron James. Hell, you won a championship in Cleveland with LeBron James. So what do? You go to Boston. There's no chemistry there. And now the pieces are starting to come together as to why he left Boston or was let go from Boston. And now Brooklyn's having these same issues that he was having in Boston before, and to a lesser degree in Cleveland. You see, Kyrie is a different. He's a couple fries short of a Happy Meal. He works at his own pace. He's got his own speed. It's not the same speed as everybody else. He's in another world on his own, and now you have put the Nets in the corner. Now, best believe ownership did not just make this decision on their own. How I can guarantee it, they went and got the blessing. They went and talked to Devin Durant. They went to talk to James Harden, a couple other players probably. But Kevin Durant and James Harden were the two guys they probably talked to and wanted to get their opinion and to go ahead on this. There's no other way around it. They're probably sick of the act too. And quite frankly, I would be too. So like I mean, the only thing you can do is just move on from it and prepare for the season coming up because the season starts in 10 days. You can't have this cloud of is Kyrie going to show up? Is he not going to show up? Is he going to get the vaccine? Is he not going to get the vaccine? Whatever. Then if you don't want the vaccine, fine. Just say that and let's move forward. Now, if you're trying to trade him, that's the other aspect of it. Like, what are you going to do? Are you going to cut him and still be on the hook for all that money? Because Kyrie gets paid $33 million a season. Are other teams lining up to trade for him to deal with that headache? I doubt it. He's not really. I mean, Kyrie Irving is a talented. He's one of the best guards in the league. But his act and some of the things he's been doing over the past year or so is not attractive to other NBA owners. And on top of that, you're screwing things up for the rest of the organization because James Harden ain't gonna want to deal with this. When you got Philadelphia knocking at the door, oh yes, Philly is knocking on the door. Like, look, bro, I got Ben Simmons for you. We can do a sign and trade right now. We'll give you Ben Simmons for James Harden, maybe a couple draft picks. Who wouldn't take that deal? Especially if James Harden says, okay, I'm done with this Kyrie stuff. We're not gelling as a team. I want out. You get me with Joel Embiid and Marthies Seibel and the rest. That squad is a shot maker away from going to a championship. I'm telling you right now. Philly is good. But that was the big news out of the NBA. Kyrie Irving won't play. And then Kyrie has said that he doesn't plan on getting the vaccine. So we're at a stalemate here. We're not really at a stalemate. The Nets basically said that's the only way you're going to play for our team if you come on and get the vaccine. And it's not that, I mean, it's not like the Nets are doing anything, asking more than what other teams or anything are requiring to do, but it's state mandated in New York. You don't got a choice. Andrew Wiggins plays for the Golden State Warriors. It's mandated in California. He tried to get an exemption to see, because of religious reasons, that he can get the vaccine, right? The NBA quickly denied it. Like, really? What religious reasons? What does Andrew Wiggins do? Knowing that he's about to lose his paychecks, he goes gets the vaccine. Look, if my job told me that I need to get the vaccine in order for me to work so I can take care of my family and myself and have a roof on my head and all that so I can get paid, you damn right. I'm going first appointment. I'm going straight. Period. Let alone $33 million? You're going to let two shots cost you $33 million? It makes no sense. Except for Kyrie Irving, because he's got a screw loose. So that's my opinion on that. I think it's ridiculous. I think it's silly. I understand it. I understand the hesitation to get the vaccine, but come on, bro. You're on a championship team. Don't be dumb. It makes no sense to me. So that's the big news out of the NBA today. So the John Gruden story was huge news, and then Kyrie was those two stories controlled the whole headlines today. Overshadowed yesterday's performance by Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. What a game that was. That comeback. I thought they were dead to rights. You kidding me? Now, this talk of Lamar Jackson not being a passer quarterback, can we cut that out, please? Can we just stop? I'm going to pull up the stats here from last night's game because they had a horrible first half. I mean, it was terrible. You go in there, you're down early, you're down to Carson Wentz. You know, Carson Wentz, not the best quarterback, but it was 10-3 at halftime. And then they come out firing in the second half. But that fourth quarter where they outscored the Colts 16-3 in the fourth quarter. Lamar Jackson, 37 for 43, 442 yards, and 4 touchdowns. He's the first player to throw for 400 yards and rush for 50 yards in one game. He also had 14 carries for 62 yards. Mark Andrews, welcome to the season, buddy. 11 catches for 147 and 2 touchdowns. That is gaudy numbers right there. But that comeback game, I mean, now the Ravens are in a 4-1 spot in the AFC. I mean, you have to put them. I mean, you have the Ravens, the Bills, who are clearly the favorite in the AFC right now, but not by much because the Los Angeles Chargers are right there. They're also 4-1, and Chargers had a big shootout win against Cleveland this week. So my takeaways from this past week, this week 5. Chargers with a 47-42 win against Cleveland. They're 4-1. I think the Bills and the Chargers are the two favorites, with the Ravens a close second in the AFC. On the NFC side, obviously, the world champs, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, huge win on Sunday. They're 4-1. The Arizona Cardinals are the only undefeated team left. They're 5-0. I'm not 100% sold on them because just based on their schedule, who they played. I mean, their only real big win, I mean, the 49ers win was, it wasn't big, but it was significant. The Rams game was big. That was a big game. That was a big win for them. Obviously, the Rams are a top tier team in the NFC. Arizona. I mean, you got to put Dallas in there. And Dallas is rolling there at 4-1. And the Packers. You got to put the Packers in that mix. So I would say that about 4 or 5 teams that are in that mix. Rams, Cardinals, Packers, Cowboys, and Bucks. Those are like your 4 or 5 top teams in the NFC. The AFC right now, it's down to 3. Unless we see some significant changes. But, I mean, there's some teams on that bubble right now that I'm interested to see how things are going to go going to week 6. Now, we're going into some bye weeks now. It's bye week time. So for your fantasy owners, this is where you're going to see who's going to be able to cut it, who's done, whose team's done. I mean, Thursday you got the Buccaneers and the Eagles. You got some huge matchups coming this week. Monday night you got the Bills and the Titans. That's a big tilt. Sunday night football, Seahawks and Steelers. I'm after Thursday's game now. Let me backtrack a little bit. I went to the second half. Excuse me. I went to the second half of that Seahawks Rams game on Thursday night. Couple thoughts. Number one, Russell Wilson's finger looked like a pretzel after he injured it. Number two, when Geno Smith came into that game, you can see the differences in the offense ran by Geno Smith compared to Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson does not work the middle of the field, and he holds onto the ball entirely way too long. Geno Smith, what does he do when he comes in? He worked the middle of the field. Now, the Rams were playing soft coverage. They were playing a zone coverage. Very, very soft. They didn't want to get beat over the top. But the Rams weren't really prepared for that either. Now, you should be prepared at all times and not using an excuse. And he drove it down for 98 yards for a touchdown. What does he do on his second possession? He throws an interception. Now, the Steelers are going to have a week to game plan for this. Over a week. Seahawks played on Thursday night. So it's going to be a 10-day window between Thursday night and this Sunday night when they play the Steelers. So now the Steelers haven't been playing great either. They got a win last week. The Steelers are 2-3. Ben Roethlisberger, he's been subpar at best this season. So we'll see. But they got Najee Harris. You're not going to have Juju Smith-Schuster. You'll have Deontay Johnson. You'll have Chase Claypool. And you'll have Najee Harris. So it'll be a interesting matchup. The Steelers are favored by 4.5 points going into this Sunday night, which is kind of fair. Seahawks are defensively poor, probably bottom tier defense, and you're missing your star quarterback. So, and then we don't notice Dallas or Chris Carson either. So this will be interesting on what happens there. Some other games to note: Patriots and Cowboys this Sunday afternoon. That's going to be a big game. Chargers Ravens. 2 4-1 teams going at it this Sunday. That's going to be an interesting game. Justin Herbert versus Lamar Jackson. That's probably going to be one of the big games of the week. Cardinals Browns, also another big game. Cardinals still 5-0. Browns coming off a loss to the Chargers. They're 3-2 still. Some other matchups to note. There's not really a lot of great games on the schedule this week, but there is some interesting matchups. Rams Giants, that's not good. The Rams should win that one easy. Let's see. Yeah, the Chargers Ravens will be big. Cardinals Browns. I'm interested to see how the Raiders are going to play after this whole news with John Gruden being out. They play the Broncos on the road this Sunday. Both teams are 3-2, but we'll see how much Now, the other thing I wanted to talk about this was John Gruden's secondary coach and assistant head coach will be taking over. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I'm gonna look it up here in a second, but he's like a good friend of John Gruden's. He's been with him for like the last 10, 15 years. He's going to be taking over the head coaching duties for the team. And I wonder how this affects. I wonder how this affects because you have Gus Bradley as your defensive coordinator, who has really no ties or connections with John Gruden except for this season. I think he would have been a better fit to take over the coaching duties. Gus Bradley has experience as a head coach. He was a head coach in Jacksonville for a couple of years. I just think he would have been a better fit than the other guy who's taking over. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. But anyway, in any event, he's taking over the head coaching duties, and we'll see how this affects them because you're going into Mile High. The air is thin in Mile High in Denver. The Broncos are just coming off a loss. They need a big win. Derek Carr has already tabled his contract talks until the end of the season. He doesn't want to cause more distractions, which is the smart move. Because if he would have kept going with his contract talks, this thing is it's already on the verge of imploding. Let's add some contract talks into it. I need a new contract. No, that would have been right. So we'll see how that goes. That's going to be the other game I'm going to be watching out for is how the Raiders bounce back from this and see how they play coming out this Sunday. Because last Sunday they were flat. You can clearly see they were not the same team. So yeah, some of those big games, and then the Bills Titans game will be also huge. I think the Bills are probably the hottest team in football right now. They're rolling. Tennessee needs a win. They're leading the division right now, but Tennessee was one of those teams that we thought could make the next step with the addition of Julio Jones, make that next step to possibly an AFC Championship game or possibly Super Bowl contender. And they've been far from it this season, even though they are 3-2. They haven't looked great. So we'll see how that goes for this week. We're going to check in on the scores from the two games I was talking about. The Dodgers game just went final. The Dodgers win 7-2. Series is tied at 2-2 with the Giants and the Dodgers. So we'll see when Game 5 is going to be. And then the Kraken game just went final. Golden Knights beat the Kraken 4-3, but a great effort by the Seattle Kraken, scoring 3 goals in the second and the third period. Came close to winning. The go-ahead goal by Chandler Stevenson deflects off the foot of one of the Kraken players for the goal that gives them the go-ahead lead. So Kraken, first game out. I can't be really disappointed. This is your first game as a franchise, and you put up 3 goals. That's pretty good. There's a lot of optimism about this team going into the season. So if you're not a hockey head, I am, and I'm telling you right now, the NHL is not like the atmosphere is something else. It is crazy. So get into it, love it, watch some hockey. It's opening night. We got plenty of games to go. And then the one thing I wanted to get into tonight that I didn't get to talk about last week, I went and saw No Time to Die, the new James Bond film. And I gotta say, that was probably one of the best James Bond films I've ever seen. Now, it's not on my top, it's probably in my top 3 of the Daniel Craig era. Now, the ending, I don't want to give any spoilers away or anything like that, but the ending I thought was okay. I thought it could have been a little bit better. the movie is it's a long movie. It's 2 hours and 45 minutes. It's a 2 hour 45 minute film, and I gotta say the action that they could have cut down that movie probably about 15 to 20 minutes, and it would have been perfect. That being said, there's plenty of action. They got the James Bond women. There's actually two pair of women in there that are fine, super hot. Um, and it's just nonstop action. There's a couple of scenes there, a couple of moments where it was kind of the movie was dragging a little bit, but then the action just picked up like that, and I was like, okay, okay, had me on the edge of my seat for a little bit. But Dan Craig was great, and I gotta pay my respects to Dan Craig. To me, he's probably the best James Bond I've seen. Sean Connery probably is number one, but James Bond, Daniel Craig's number two, and then Pierce Brosnan coming in at number three. But it's a great movie. I think you guys should go see it. If you don't know, sports is not only the thing I love, but I also love movies. I'm a huge movie buff. So I will give weekly updates on the movies I go see. Last week I saw Venom. This week I saw 007 No Time to Die. Next week, well, this week I am seeing Halloween. The new Halloween flip comes out Friday. So I will be seeing that. And then in the following week, I'm going to go see Dune. Now, I haven't decided if I'm going to go to the theater to see Halloween or watch it on Peacock because it is available on Peacock, but I might, for Halloween, I might end up just watching it on Peacock. Dune, on the other hand, there's no way in hell I'm saying I'm watching that. I'll be at the theater going to see that movie. Dune's a movie that I watched when I was a little kid. And I've been waiting on this remake for so long, and they've been working on it for the last 4 or 5 years. And it got pushed back because of the pandemic, because it's supposed to come out last year. And now we are here. Dune comes out October 22nd. I'm super excited, and I'll give you my review on that. Other news that's happening postseason. So the ALCS is set. How did we get here? I can't believe I'm saying this. The Red Sox are just that good. They beat the Yankees in the wild card. I had a feeling that they were going to win that series against Tampa because Tampa's pitching didn't show up. And you cannot make mistakes with this Boston Red Sox team. You just can't do it. Just like the Dodgers, the San Francisco Giants, I know they have the best record in all of baseball. You can't have any mistakes against this Dodger team. The Red Sox are the same way. It's almost like it's set up for the Dodgers and the Red Sox to play each other in the World Series. I almost get that feeling, and I'm like, it sickens me to my stomach because I don't want to see the Red Sox win anything anymore. I'm done with the Red Sox. I'm done with the Dodgers, too. The Dodgers took out my Cardinals. But here we are. I don't know. I think San Francisco needs to come with some kind of way and figure it out and beat these guys. Now, the team I'm cheering for right now, a lot of people are not talking about, is the Atlanta Braves. The Atlanta Braves are kind of I wouldn't say underdog because they're not really an underdog. They won a division. That being said, out of all the teams that are left now, I mean, Houston's in the ALCS. I don't like them either because Houston's a bunch of cheaters. They cheated their ass to that World Series ring last time they were out. But any event, I don't like the Red Sox either. So I'm not really looking forward to watching that. If you were asking me to pick one of the two, I'd rather see the Red Sox get to the World Series than have a bunch of cheaters like the Houston Astros in it again. My personal opinion. Nobody's forgotten that. It's only been a little over a year. But nobody has forgotten about the Astros cheating to get that World Series ring. Nobody. Nobody will ever forget about that. But I think the Atlanta Braves are kind of that team. They're just quietly doing what they need to do. And I think the Atlanta Braves can make a run. They have the pitching, they have the pieces in their lineup to they can hit for average. They can hit home runs. They got power. They got speed around the bases. That team is primed and ready to win. So my personal team that I'm going for right now is the Atlanta Braves. I'm picking them biasly because I want that. They're the only team I really like in the rest of the field. The Dodgers, yeah, but I don't know if the Dodgers will get in. I don't think. I think San Francisco's going to win Game 5 because they'll be at home. But that being said, it'll be interesting. So next week we got a lot to get into. We're going to be talking. Week 6 will be over. We leading into Week 7. I'm going to touch on some fantasy football stuff. I didn't get to it this week, but leave a comment, share, like the page, tell your friends, neighbors, dogs, cats, co-workers, drinking buddies, whoever. If they want fantasy advice, they can message me. They can leave a comment when they like the video, and then we can correspond from there. And I can give you some fantasy tips. It's Week 6, so bye weeks are coming. As the season progresses, you're going to see some big names having bye weeks. How are you going to manage that? Do you have a decent backup quarterback? Do you have somebody that you can use as a flex in place of your running back, or are you deep on wide receivers in your league? Do you have a kicker? Do you have a defense that you need to replace? Hit that waiver wire up. It's all those things are key because if you don't have a decent quarterback, and say like you have, let's say I have Patrick Mahomes. Their bye week's week 11, so I still have 3 or 4 more weeks until I have to think about getting a replacement quarterback for a week. Injuries are playing a big role too because there's some key guys that got hurt. I already mentioned Juju Smith-Schuster. KC's starting running back. He's going to be out 3 weeks. You got running backs in Chicago that are hurt. Seattle, Chris Carson. Is he going to be healthy? Do you play Alex Collins or is he going to be a game time decision? Dalvin Cook missing another week. Is he going to be ready to go, or are you going to need to put are you going to have to put Madison in as a replacement again? He's been solid, but they're playing a good defense this week in Carolina. So all these things you got to think about when it comes to fantasy if you want to survive and get to the playoffs. So we'll be touching on that next week. Obviously, next week when it comes to baseball, we're going to be full tilt. The League Championship Series, National League and American League will be getting underway. We'll be creeping closer to the start of the NBA season. The NBA season starts on the 20th. We're 8 days out. What's the fallout from the John Gruden story? Will there be other teams affected? Will there be other coaches affected? How deep does this run? We're talking 10 years of emails. Are those emails going to be released? Who's releasing them? Why is the NFL not saying anything? All that is we're going to be talking about next week as we're getting into fall season, man, mid-October. This is going to be the time of year where you got the NHL starting tonight. NBA starts next week. This time next week on Tuesday, they're going to have NBA stuff going. My Lakers will be back and running. Oh, yes. They're coming to win the chip. LeBron is coming. AD is coming. But you guys got my cameraman back there shaking his head. He's like, no, not LeBron. Come on. The Lakers are coming in. But like and share, subscribe to the page. Offtop Podcast. This is episode 5 coming to a close. Tune in next week. We're going to be posting this video up pretty soon. And then like and share, subscribe to the page. Tell everybody. Facebook me, message me if you have any questions or you want some fantasy advice. I'll do whatever I can to help your fantasy team win, okay? Until next time, peace and love.